You're listening to the Entrepreneur Life Show, the only show for business owners and entrepreneurs on the radio. Just finished with Clay Bloxam, CEO and owner of PayPros, talking about employees and some crazy stuff that you have to watch for in interviewing employees. You know, from attorney level and also the psychological level.
It's amazing what people are doing to get jobs, both on deceit on both ends, both beefing up the resume and also tearing it back down so they look stupider.
Yeah, and right online services helping you lie. I mean, it's the power of technology, good and evil. We have Dave Linden here from Las Vegas, largest mixer. Dave, welcome to the show.
Emmet, how are you?
Great. And also a fellow entrepreneur, right?
That would be me. I didn't realize that that's what I signed up for, but apparently I am.
Yeah, at birth. Yeah. So kind of tell us your story here. You've done several different things, and obviously our listeners can tell you've got the voice for radio.
And the face for radio, too. But that's just an old radio joke. You know, the funny thing is that I became an entrepreneur for probably the same reason why many people do, and that's because I worked for so many people that were idiots that I thought to myself,
I'll become one?
I will become part of the problem. No, that, you know, I was always thinking like, wow, all I would have to do is everything that these people, you know, or not everything, everything I don't have to do, whatever. And that's really what it boiled down to. The last time I had a full-time job, which was 10 years ago, I mean, literally, I'll never, and of course we were talking about networking, you know, off the air. I'll never forget this. I was working at a museum in Los Angeles, and I won't mention which one it is, but they have cars.
Okay.
But in any case, and the director of the museum, you know, I come in and I have this great networking background, and I'm a PR guy, and I'm all about, you know, schmoozing and getting out there, and I was like, hey, I'm going to be going to these chamber mixers, and he's like, oh yeah, that's something you do on your own time, because that's fun. You know, and I'm like, what are you talking about? That's work. And at that point, and you know, at that point, I realized, you know, this individual really just doesn't get it, doesn't understand it, and then for the next 2.5 years, I was trying to, make this guy understand that, you know, that it really was valuable. At that time, that's when we created the largest mixer.
Wow. So I mean, you, like most entrepreneurs, took a problem and solved it to the extreme. I mean, why create just another mixer? You created the largest mixer.
Exactly.
Right?
And it wasn't even so much that it was a problem. It was more on the lines of how can I show this guy how wrong he was?
Sure.
I'm going to produce mixers all across the country, and I'll show him.
And that's all I'm going to do.
Exactly.
And you've started to do that. You now have the largest mixers in which cities, counties?
Sure. It started in Los Angeles 11 years ago. Then we brought it to Orange County, then to Las Vegas, and then there's an area in Southern California called the Inland Empire, which is San Bernardino, Riverside, Ontario. You know, huge, sprawling area of Southern California, and that is now in year 3.
Wow. And this one in Vegas is the fifth
year anniversary.
Excellent. So tell us about the largest mixer. What kind of people are there? You know, you have a booth set up. Mm-hmm. How does it work? Just walk us through logistics.
Sure. Well, basically the whole idea of the largest mixer originally was giving an opportunity to all the chambers of commerce. And when you're talking like Los Angeles, you know, there's 30, 40 chambers, you know, right in the city.
Wow.
So to give them all an opportunity to network, because I had been on boards of chambers, and just knowing that they don't have an opportunity to get out and promote themselves. They're always busy promoting their own members. So the idea was to give them a venue where they could mix and mingle and get new members, and that just kind of the metamorphosis of that with, you know, exhibitors and food booths and, you know, and more of a trade show style. So at first it was just a bunch of people in one room, and then, you know, years later turned into, you know, exhibitors and more of a trade show feel. So what someone might find when they show up to the Plaza Hotel on September 23rd, Las Vegas' largest mixer, is yes, a business expo style, but very much a mixer because it's more relaxed. There's no pipe and drape. There's really no defined areas where you have booth.
It's a
you
true
find
mixer.
that.
It's not a trade show.
It isn't a trade show, yet kind of a little bit of a trade show, but just a more relaxed and more of a mixer.
In what ways is a mixer more effective for people who are looking for networking than going to a trade show?
Well, trade shows, you're somewhat not allowed to really go up to the exhibitors and solicit them hard.
Right.
And unfortunately, the fact is that does happen at our events. And some of the exhibitors say, hey, we're getting a lot of soliciting at our table, which we somewhat frown upon. And everyone knows that that's not networking. Walking up to a booth and saying, here's my stuff. It's building the relationship and at the end passing out a business card, not necessarily bombarding people with brochures and flyers and whatnot. So I have no idea what your original question was.
That's okay. A typical entrepreneur. So what are the common mistakes you would say that most people do when they go to these networking events?
Sure. First of all, it is that not really knowing how to build a relationship before asking for the piece of business.
Yep.
So that's A, and B, which I'm sure you guys will all be in total agreement. The art of follow-up, I have no idea where people that must have just been a class in school that no one took.
We talk about the marketing funnel a lot here on the show, and I think most people say, I got a great idea, now marry me.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to these mixers, right? And the thought is, hey, if you don't buy my product today, then why am I going to want to follow up with you, right? You don't have to buy it tomorrow.
Exactly, and oftentimes you go to events, and especially like our events, where it's not even so much finding someone that evening that is interested in your product. It's someone that might know somebody or someone that might be able to introduce you to other people. I would have to say, 50 or 60% of the booths that we do sell are all from referrals.
Okay, show us that radio voice and plug the mixer one more time.
Las Vegas's largest mixer, September 23rd at the Plaza Hotel and Casino.
Hey, David, thank you very much. Appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks, Emmet.
You're listening to the Entrepreneur Live Show, the only show for business owners and entrepreneurs on the radio.
Thank you, that was great.